Good morning. Welcome to Cuddles and Milk and Petaluma. This morning, I want to talk about breastfeeding as usual. So this is a Breastfeeding Journey, episode 3. So what I'm talking about today is, the first episode we talked about kind of what you could do before baby comes. The second episode was more about immediately after birth, those first 2 hours of life, which are super crucial. And unfortunately, in the US, the hospitals a lot of times do things that interrupt those first 2 hours. So we talked about that. Now we're going to talk about the rest of the hospital stay. So depending upon where you are in the US and how you deliver, that could be anywhere from really 12 to 96 hours. So sometimes with a vaginal delivery, especially if the hospital is busy and it's your second or third baby, they really might send you home and push you home at 12 hours. If it's your first, and I know in California you get 4 days for a C-section, you might be there 96 hours. So there's a wide range of what you might be. We're going to go with the average of about 2 days. Okay, that's about what most moms stay in California. It's about 2 days. Some places it will be a little bit more. Some places will be a little bit less. But we're going to talk about those first 2 days of life. So what can you do in the hospital, and what do you want to avoid in the hospital? So the first thing, super simple. Put that baby on your skin. Skin to skin does so much good. Okay, so unwrap that baby. No shirt, no blanket, no cute onesies. Baby in a diaper. Right on you. No shirt, no hospital gown. Right on your skin. And your partner can do this too. Heck, grandma or auntie can do this if they're hanging out to give you a nap or something like that. Skin to skin is so crucial for baby. It does a lot of wonderful things. It helps with weight loss. It actually helps keep baby warmer, which means they're not using their own energy to create heat. That makes a big difference in weight loss, okay? So it sets you up for a lot of success to have that skin to skin. So that's the first thing. That's a preventative. That's just a good thing to do, okay? So put that baby on your skin. Second thing to do is to hand express. Okay, we talked a little bit about hand expression before, but very minimal. In the first couple of days in the hospital, this is where hand expression is really going to come in. You should be taught how to hand express. Okay, you should be taught how to use your hands on your breast because you don't always have a pump with you. The electricity might be out. The pump might not be getting it out. In the first few days with colostrum, the pump is not as good as your hands. If you are engorged and you have a lot of fluid around, or the milk came in and it's very, very full, the pump might not be as good as your hands. You need to know how to use your hands. So ask your nurse, ask the lactation consultant, ask. They should be able to teach you. If they are a baby-friendly hospital, this is a basic thing they should be able to do. If they're not a baby-friendly, this is a basic thing they should still be able to do. Using your hands is something every woman should know how to do, okay? We just all should. You always have your hands. The other thing I love, and I forgot to bring my props this morning, unfortunately, is a spoon. A spoon is so handy, okay? It gives you a little handle. You can hold on to it while you sit here and hand express. Then you take the little spoon and you tip it into baby's mouth. It's so easy, right? It's just super easy to hold on to. Sometimes they'll give you these little medicine cups in the hospital, but it's really hard to kind of like aim and hold. A spoon's much easier. It's also easy to tip in baby's mouth. And everyone has them at home. Don't buy anything special. There's so much baby stuff out there that you really don't need in general anyways. And for breastfeeding, there's not a lot you need to buy either, okay? So don't buy something for this. Don't look for something tiny to put your, drops of colostrum in. Everyone has a spoon. Just use a spoon. Any spoon is fine, okay? So skin to skin and hand expression, okay? We want to be feeding baby those drops after every feed. So you are trying to feed the baby every 2 to 3 hours, okay? In the first 24 hours of life, you've got a baby that's probably pretty sleepy. Maybe waking up for some of the feeds, maybe not. If you're lucky, about half the feeds, baby will wake up and feed. Sometimes they just won't do anything. So as long as you're skin to skinning that baby, and as long as you're hand expressing, that's all you need the first 24 hours, okay? So hand express and try to give the baby any drops. Even if just a tiny bit comes out, rub it on your finger and come and rub it inside baby's mouth. That stuff is called liquid gold for a reason. It's full of antibodies. It's full of wonderful, wonderful live cells and wonderful protection for this baby and nutrition. Breast milk is more than food. Breast milk is medicine. Okay, breast milk is life for your baby. All right, so any little drops you get are precious, and just rub them in on baby. They do great. All right, so skin to skin, hand expression, spoon feed that baby after every feed you can, and wake up that baby and try every 2 to 3 hours. Okay, I know you're going to be tired. 3 hours is fine, but every 3 hours. Excuse me, and that goes from the start of one feed to the start of the next. So if you start feeding at 7 a.m. and you don't finish until 7:45 or 8 o'clock, you start again at 10, not at 11. Okay, it's 3 hours from the start to the start. Breast milk is incredibly perfect food for our children. Okay, it is the first food humans are supposed to have. However, we're also designed to feed a lot. Okay, if you look back anthropology-wise through humans, women wore our babies, okay, and sometimes they would nurse. Honestly, I've read studies showing babies that have nursed 50 or 100 times a day, which sounds insane to us, okay? But it's really not that crazy, you know, to have a baby nursing 100 times a day. I know it sounds insane, okay? But most of the time, those were very short nursings, a couple of minutes. Baby was on, baby came off. Baby was just being born in a carrier and on mom all the time and could eat whenever they were hungry. All right. So we're expecting a lot of our kids to kind of hold off and do this longer thing. And this, you know, waiting those 3 hours. Some kids can do it and some kids can't, and that's okay. But we should not let them go longer than that in the first month of life. Okay. They just don't have the stores. They will wind up even more tired. I've heard many parents say to me, well, if I let them go 4 hours and they'll be more eager, right? They'll be more hungry and they'll eat better. Unfortunately, no. Actually, what you get is a really lethargic baby, a baby who's too exhausted, has no energy to expend. And it takes energy to breastfeed, especially in the beginning, but it takes energy. And so instead you get this baby that really can't eat. And then they've gone 4 hours. And then sometimes the parents will go another 3 or 4 hours. And then before you know it, baby has missed quite a number of feeds. All right. So we don't want to do that. So in those hospital days, we're going to be doing lots of skin to skin. We're going to be doing hand expressions, spoon feeding, and waking that baby every 2 to 3 hours. I'm going to touch briefly on what you don't want to do. Okay. You don't want to send the baby to the nursery. Okay. This baby needs to be in with you at all times, preferably on your body or on somebody else's body, like partner. Wrapping that baby up covers up those early feeding cues. When baby is swaddled and they're like this and they're swaddled and they're tight, you might not notice those early feeding cues, right? Those early feeding cues are baby playing with their hands, licking their lips, kind of all this early stuff. You might not notice that because they're in another room wrapped up in a crib and nobody else might get to them until all of a sudden they're screaming. And then you've got a screaming baby that's so hard to get latched on if they're already having trouble, right? So those early feeding cues are important. So don't send the baby to nursery, okay? You don't want to be using formula unless it's medically necessary. If your baby has a low blood sugar, okay? If your baby is super, super small and the doctors are saying baby needs some extra calories, then do what is medically necessary. However, if your baby is healthy, blood sugars are not being checked, we're not in any worry, mom's not diabetic, baby's not super huge, not super small, baby has been coming to the breast some, then there's no reason. I hear it all the time from nurses on the postpartum floor. And honestly, they're trying to be helpful. It's just misguided. They might come over and say, here, how about a bottle? Just take it just in case. Or how about if I send you home with some bottles of formula just in case baby seems really hungry? Guess what? That is not the best idea. That's irritating the baby's gut. And it's much bigger. A lot of times I'll come in a room and hear from a parent, oh yeah, the nurse just fed the baby or gave me some formula to feed the baby. And I say, how much should baby take? Oh, 2 ounces on a 1-day-old. guess what? A 1-day-old is probably taking about 10 mils a feed, not 60. Biologically, breastfed newborn is not meant to take 2 ounces or 60 mLs until day 5. Day 5, okay? So we tend to overfeed babies with a bottle, which is extra hard when you're breastfeeding in those first 5 days, because what happens is then the baby gets used to a big meal, they come back to the breast and they get frustrated. They also are used to a fast, easy meal. Think of it like you've got this huge hose and you can drink as much as you want. And then you go back to this little one that's drip, drip, drip. And there's nothing wrong with the little one, okay? That's probably easier. You're not making as much of a mess, right? You're not wasting all of this, but it's hard to go back and forth. So that's one of the things you want to do to protect your supply in the hospital. Don't send the baby out of the room. Don't offer any formula unless medically necessary. Never feed any water, okay? We never want to be giving baby under 6 months any water. They should be having breast milk or formula. They should never be having water. They need their calories, okay? So don't send the baby and no formula if you can help it unless it's medically necessary. And tell the hospital when they say, you know, how are things going? Remind them, I want to breastfeed. How can I be most successful? Or I want to breastfeed, so I'm going to keep the baby right here on my skin. Or, you know, I want to breastfeed, so, you know, daddy's going to hold the baby while I take a nap or a shower instead of sending the baby to nursery. Or my partner's here, they're going to do some skin to skin. Or my mom is here and she wants to hold the baby and do skin to skin, right? Let everybody help you. That's fine. That's great. That's what you need. But don't send the baby off, because then a lot of times they just don't get those early feeding cues seen, and you're not there to respond to them so fast, right? Okay, so those are what we do in the hospital. That's how you can set yourself up for success in the hospital and what you can do. And I hope this was really helpful. I hope that you want to keep watching, and we're going to do more Breastfeeding Journey. This was episode 3 today. I really encourage you to check out my Instagram or Facebook at Cuddles Milk Petaluma. And you can see some of my posts recently. I'm trying to help kind of spread the word on current things, everything from, you know, COVID information and birth control, breastfeeding stuff. So all of this, I just want you to comment. Let me know what you think of this. Is this helpful? How else can I help you today? What could I do? So shoot me a comment, send me an email, click into my profile. Be happy to hear from you. And thanks for joining at Cuddles and Milk Petaluma today. Have a great day, everyone. Bye.